פרק ט' משנה ח'. הפסח, קורבן הפסח, פסח sacrifice, שנתערב בזבחים, that got mixed up with other sacrifices. You know, it's בית המקדש, they all get mixed up. בקורבנות אחרים, other sacrifices. כגון, שהיו 3 טלאים, you had 3 ships. אחד של פסח, it's your 3 ships, you came with all 3 ships. One for פסח, אחד של עולה, one you bring as a עולה, burnt offering, ואחד של אשם, and one is a sin offering. You came with all the 3 ships, right? והרי קורבנות אלו אינם שווים. So what's the problem? If they were all had the same rules, maybe it will be okay. But they have different rules. In other words, where the blood is sprinkled, how much you can eat them, it's all different rules.
Shall it מתערבב before or after? After the shecht or before the shecht? מתערבב.
I think over here he's talking about before.
Before the shecht?
Yeah, I think over here he's talking about before. הרי קורבנות אלו אינם שווים, these sacrifices are not equal, לא בזמן אכילתם, not at the time that you eat them, ולא במתן דמם על מזבח, and not where you put the blood on the altar. וכיוון שנתערבו, now they all got mixed up, so what are you going to do? Which one are you going to do? כולם אינם ראויים להקרבה. Now you cannot bring anybody over, because each one has different rulings, you don't know which one is which. הילקח, so what do? You're in trouble. You have to do what? כולם יראו עד שיסתאבו. You have to send them all to the pasture until they're going to be until they're all going to get blemished. After they all get blemished, then sell them, then buy something in their money, and repeat. עד שיפול בהם, until there's going to be a blemish in them, וימכרו לאחר שהוממו, then you sell them after they have the blemish. And now, so this is a 3 months later, right? 3 months later, and now you did whatever Pesach you needed to do, so you bought another Pesach, yeah. Let's say, forget Pesach. I didn't talk.
I don't understand a little bit here.
Yeah.
Because if you bring 3 sheep, so that means you had to designate them before you bring them into the temple. You bring 3 sheep.
Mm-hmm.
Now you say, okay, Mr. Cohen, this is my Korban Pesach. בבקשה. This is Korban Olah, this is Shlam. עכשיו, now they got mixed after you tell him all this. Now why can't you, so you say, okay, you know what, so this make for Zevachim. You can't switch. In other words, you understand?
Yeah.
Because you didn't shecht him yet.
Yeah, even though I didn't say, I designated it. When you designate it, when you say this is for, that's a problem. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Yeah. You have designation. Yeah. So over here now, let's say 3 months later, they all became blemished. Now you're going to have still a problem. What's going to be the problem? One of them, it doesn't have to be this way, but imagine that one of them was more expensive than the other 2. Let's say one sheep was $100 and the other 2 were $50. You would ask why it would be this way. Simple. Because there are some 2-year-olds, there's some 1-year-olds. There are some sheep, some goats. You know, let's say you brought 3 goats. You're allowed to bring 3 goats. They're different values. So one of them was $100, one of them is $50. So what do you say? ויביא בדמי היפה שבהן ממין זה ובדמי היפה שבהן ממין זה. So now, let's say before you had the 3 sheeps, one was you bought for $75, the other one $60, the other one $60. Yeah? So you have 75, 60, 60. And even though it's 75, 60, 60, when you got mixed, you still don't know which one is which. It's not that much of a difference. But you paid for it. You have the money now. Okay, so what do? כל אחד מהקורבנות הללו, or each one of these sacrifices, הוא חייב להביא בסכום המעות שבו נמכר היפה שבהם. In other words, if the most expensive one was $75, now
you have to add.
Yeah, but you don't have enough money. Because even if you sell 75 and 60 and 60, you don't have enough. So what do? שמא אותו קורבן היה יפה. Because maybe from that sacrifice was good. כגון, אם מכר את האחד בסלע, for example, he sold the first one in a סלע, והאחד בסלע וחצי, and the one in סלע and a half, והאחד בשני סלעים, and the other one in 2 סלעים, צריך לקנות 3 טלאים אחרים, he needs to bring 3 other sheep, כל טלה בשני סלעים, every טלה at the most expensive price, in 2 סלעים, כדמי היפה שבהם. Like in the...
So we have to add money.
Oh, very good, very good, he has to add money. ויפסיד המותר מביתו. And then he has to add money from his house, from his own bank account. He has to go and draw the difference. המותר של סלע וחצי, the difference between the whatever the sacrifice was to the best one, המותר של סלע וחצי, the difference of 1.5, הוא מפסיד מכספו. He has to go out to his bank account and get it out again. שהרי מכר את כולם ב4.5 סלעים, because he sold all of them for 4.5 סלע, ועכשיו שהוא צריך לקנות את הקורבנות ב6 סלעים, now you have to bring 2, 2, 2, so it's 6 סלעים, and he only sold it for 4.5. עליו להוסיף את ההפרש משלו, he has to add the difference from himself. רש"י מפרש, רש"י explains, הואיל וקדושת הבהמה חלה על דמיה, since the holiness of the animals transfers to the money, ואין משנים מקדושה לקדושה, and you cannot exchange from one holiness to another holiness. In other words, Pesach is specific holiness, Ola has a specific holiness, Shlamim has a specific holiness. לפיכך מביא 6 סלעים מביתו. Therefore, what he needs to do is bring 6 סלע from his house, ונוטל 2 מהם, and he has to take 2 of them ואומר, כל מקום שהיא העולה, הרי מחוללת השני סלעים אלו. It says, the עולה goes for these 2 סלעים, הוא מביא בהם עולה, and then brings עולה. ובשאר הקורבנות, and he does the same thing with other קורבנות. In all the other sacrifices. הוא מביא בשני סלעים קורבן פסח, and he brings with 2 סלעים the Pesach sacrifice, אם נסתאבו כולם קודם הפסח, if they became all blemished before the Pesach sacrificed. ואם נסתאבו לאחר הפסח, but if they became blemished after the Pesach sacrifice, מביא בהם שלמים. As we said, we bring שלמים because שהרי הפסח שלא בזמנו קרב שלמים. Like we learned, Pesach not in its time, you bring as a peace offering. ברם, אם נתערב פסח בשלמים, but what happens if the Pesach got mixed up with shlamim? Because over here we say only ola and asham, not shlamim. So it's going to be different rules. If the Pesach and shlamim got mixed up, יקרבו כולם shlamim. Then you have a solution. You can bring everything shlamim.
That's why that's what he can do.
Because Pesach can interchange with shlamim. You see soon why. Because they have the same rules. There's no different rules between Pesach and shlamim. But those ones have different rules. You put them in a different place on the altar. That's the problem. מפני שהשלמים טעונים סמיכה ושני מתנות שהן 4, מה שאין כן בפסח. וכבר הזכרנו שמותר הפסח קרב שלמים. And we already explained that the Pesach can always be interchanged with shlamim. Now we're going to have a problem. Or less of a problem. Because Pesach and Bechor are also similar. You know, the Bechorot, you need to bring the firstborn to the Kohen. So they have a little bit of a similar thing. Let's see what. נתערב בבכורות. The Pesach sacrifice got mixed up with the firstborn sacrifice. So what do you do? אם יתערב הפסח בבכורות, if the Pesach got mixed up in the firstborn, שמתן דמם על המזבח שווה. Over there they're exactly the same. You put them in the, sprinkle it exactly the same. So what's the problem? There's still going to be a problem. כמו ששנו, הבכור והמעשר והפסח, we already learned that the firstborn, the meiser and the pesach, שחיטתם בכל מקום בעזרה. You can shech them every place in the עזרה, you don't have different rules. ודמם טעון מתנה אחת, and the blood is one, exactly in the same place. But there's still going to be a problem. What's going to be a problem? שונים הם באכילתם. The rules about when you can eat them are different. How? בכור has 2 days to be eaten. Pesach only has until the morning to be eaten. לילה אחד. הבכור נאכל, there's another difference. The בכור is only eaten by the Kohanim. But it's not, it's kadashim kalim. What do you mean kadashim kalim? They don't have to eat it in the temple. They can take it out home to Yerushalayim. Not to Yerushalayim, not outside Yerushalayim. Yeah. So that's exactly like the Pesach. So there you don't have a problem. Yeah, so the Kohanim can take it out, okay? הבכור נאכל לכהנים, the בכור is eaten for the כהנים, לשני ימים ולילה אחד. So there's a difference. Two days and one night. והפסח אינו נאכל בלילה עד חצות. And the Pesach is only until the night. ואינו נאכל אלא למנוייו. Pesach also have another problem. That בכור, any Kohen can eat. Hey, you Kohen, come over here. Pesach, no, you cannot call anybody over. Okay? So Rabbi Shimon says, okay, so what do you do now? They got mixed. So he says, it's still not such a big problem if in Pesach, but Pesach and Bechorot got mixed. So he says, why it's not Bechorot? Rabbi Shimon says, im chavurat kohanim, as long as the chavura, as the group is all kohanim, yeah, so what happens? Nimneta al Pesach ze, it's a group of kohanim who their Pesach got mixed up with their Bechor.
Oh.
Yeah? So Rabbi
Shimon. It will be easy.
Oh. So it says, it's easy, but
I can eat it.
But until when?
It's probably like
Oh, very, you,
make it shorter because they are not sure.
they'll have to finish it.
Like Korban Pesach.
Like Korban Pesach.
And if it's Pesach, we finish it. But if it's regular,
That's right, with night.
in a way.
Very good.
Yeah.
So it says, יאכלו את כולם בליל הפסח. It says, eat both of them. Eat both of them when? At the night of Pesach. כלומר, which means, שיקריבו בערב פסח את כל הבהמות שבתערובת. It says, sacrifice all the animals. What's the problem? You're going to eat them all on the table. Everything is on the table. ויאמרו, but they have to say something. What do they have to say? They have to specify. כל מקום שהוא הפסח יהיה קרב לשם הפסח. It says, whichever is the Pesach is going to be will be slaughtered for Pesach, וכל מקום שהם בכורות יהיו קרבים לשם בכורות. And if it's a firstborn, it's going to be a firstborn. It doesn't matter what it is. It says, whoever it is, in other words, this is us. ויאכלו את הכל, but they have to finish everything בליל הפסח עד חצות. In Pesach until midnight. כדין קורבן פסח, just like the Pesach sacrifice. ואף על פי שממעטים בזמן אכילת הבכורות, and even though they're going to have less at the time of eating the firstborn, שהרי הבכור נאכל לשני ימים ולילה אחד, because over here usually I can eat until it's not notar yet. In other words, I'm almost leaving it over. I can eat it in another night. So what am I doing? כמו שהזכרנו לעיל, like we explained above, ועכשיו אין אוכלים אותו אלא עד חצות, and now we specify we half the time, or even less than half the time, ונמצא שמביאים קודשים לבית הפסול. So now what we're going to do in the morning, what you're going to do with the Bechor, you take this Bechor, which might not be notar. We don't know if it's notar or not. And now you're going to burn it. It says, who gave you permission to burn something that you have to eat? Yeah? It says, even though that you might be doing that.
If something left over.
That's right.
That's the problem. What to do with it?
What to do? It says, burn it. As we learned, you go to the temple and in the temple there's a big babira, if you remember. In the bira there's a big zeo and you burn it. Burn it over there. So it says, גורמים לקודשים שיפסלו. In other words, you cause the holiness that become blemished. היינו שיבוא לידי נותר. You make it become נותר. מכל מקום אין רבי שמעון חושש לכך. רבי שמעון says, I'm not worried about it. שהולך לשיטתו. Why is Rabbi Shimon not worried about it?
And they wait 2 days and then burn.
Same thing. You can eat it. It's a sacrifice.
But they don't eat. It's notar. They did it for another.
Yeah, but the mitzvah is to eat it. You're doing it on purpose over here. That's the problem. You're doing it on purpose. But we're going to see Rabbi Shimon doesn't hold this way. How does Rabbi Shimon hold? שהולך הוא לשיטתו. What's his שיטה? שמותר לו להביא קודשים לבית הפסול. He says always. What we said you're not allowed to, Rabbi Shimon says I allow. In other words, you're allowed to bring notar on purpose, according to Rabbi Shimon. What we always learned, we're not allowed to. Rabbi Shimon disagrees. And we're going to bring the Chachamim. אומנם חכמים חולקים עליו. The halacha is that we don't go like Rabbi Shimon. You cannot do that. You cannot do this trick. וסוברים שאין מביאים קודשים את הפסול. It says you can't do that. You cannot make a notar on purpose. In other words. ולפיכך דעת חכמים אם להתערב פסח ובכורות. So therefore, Rabbi Shimon has a way out. As long as it happened with Kohanim and Bechorot, he has a way out. The Chachamim don't have a way out. It says you're in trouble. You can tell what you're going to do. Ir'u kulam ad sheyiplu b'hem mum. Chachai says you're stuck. Since you cannot bring it into a notar, let them all shepherd. You don't have Pesach sacrifice. You don't have Bechor sacrifice. You don't have nothing now. Yeah.
They do the Pesach next time.
Oh, very good question. I don't know.
I have to.
Yeah. You mean next year? Maybe I'm Turim.
Next month.
Maybe I'm Turim. Since you shechted it.
No,
but over here you didn't shecht it. Good question. If you didn't shecht it, you have to bring your own, yeah? But why next month? If you didn't shecht at all, you can bring it this year.
What, you go and get another sheep?
Go get another sheep, yeah.
Well, you designate one.
Designate another one. I don't know, it's a good question. Yeah, I don't know if you can designate another one, you're right. I'm not even sure you can.
Okay, give me another one. This is...
Yeah, but over here it becomes not possible to bring it now. It's like, not the animal itself, but the situation makes it not possible. So maybe there's a leniency to take another one. I don't know, it's a good question.
Maybe we'll see.
Yeah. So יראו כולם עד שיפול בהם מום, so they all have to go shepherding.
It's going to take 3-4 months to have mum. So in
The-
the
yeah,
meantime,
the-
you can
the-
bring another korban.
Yeah, exactly. And it might not be Pesach Sheni either, according to this.
Oh,
Yeah.
what are we doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
ויביא בדמי היפה שבהם קורבן הפסח. Oh, I think I know what to do. This is what I think this is what he's saying.
It's all money.
So even though right now it's blemished, it's not blemished, which means you cannot sell it, but you know the value of it once it sells. So you take, it's almost like a loan. You go to your house, you take the money out, you buy another Pesach sacrifice, you bring it instead, and later on, when it sells, you can take that money and put it back in your bank account. I think that's what's happening over here. But I'm not sure.
Yeah,
It looks like it, yeah.
Another korban.
Yeah. ויביא בדמי היפה שבהם קורבן הפסח. He's going to bring in the nicer one, the קורבן פסח, כמו שביארנו לעיל. וכל הבהמות שבתערובת, and all the animals that are mixed up, מותר לאכלם בתורת בכור בעל מום. You will be allowed to eat them as a בכור בעל מום. I don't know what the rules for בכור בעל מום. We're going to learn it. It looks like there's a way to eat a firstborn that has a blemish. There's a way to shecht him. Obviously, you cannot shecht him in the temple because he is a blemish. But you might be able to shecht him in your house. And only the Kohanim eat it. Yeah. So there might be some rules for Bechor Ba'al Mum. I'm not sure what the rules. We're going to learn it when you get to Zevachim. ואם כבר הביא פסחו, and if he already brought his Pesach sacrifice, מביא בדמי היפה שבהם קורבן שלמים. He brings in the money of it peace offering. Like we say, the Pesach sacrifice always interchanges with peace offering. במקום קורבן הפסח שבתערובת. That's in exchange for the קורבן פסח that's in the mixture that is going to go out. כמו שביארנו לעיל. והלכה כחכמים, and הלכה כחכמים, we cannot use the trick of Rabbi Shimon if they were בכורות, because again, the timing. Everything is the same except the timing. So Rabbi Shimon says the timing is on the end of the world. Chachamim says the timing makes it the end of the world. We cannot interchange because the timing is different. The Chachamim...
The Kohanim can change the Korban Pesach and say, we're changing it in Shlamim, for Shlamim. But they don't know which one it is. But they say, all of these, including the one, go for Shlamim. And then they eat.
You mean the first example or the second example? Because the second example, the one we were talking about, is only when it's only discussing Pesach and Bechor. Pesach and Shlamim even Pesach and Shlamim cannot be interchanged as the first example is Zevachim, yeah, because it looks like it's not the same rules. Pesach and Shlamim, you know.
למדנו you can, if you have a problem with the Korban Pesach, you can give it as Shlamim.
You can interchange it for Shlamim.
Interchange it for Shlamim.
But that's
You
only.
say, okay, you know what? It's not for Pesach, it's for Shlamim.
Only after it's a problem, not.
After
it's a
check.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.